All right, so we have, using the area method, we are going to learn how to read area tiles, and we have 3 questions plus an extension. So today first, like I said, we're going to learn how to read some area tiles. So we want to go ahead and look at this tile first. We know that this has a side of 1, and over here we have a side of 1, it's a perfect square, and we're going to multiply these two. 1 times 1 will give me 1. So this tile is going to be equal to 1, okay? We have our second tile. This side, we have x. We have a side of x. And on this side, we have a side of 1. So if we multiply x times 1, we're just left with x. So this means that this tile is going to be equal to x. Same thing on the other tile. We have a side of x and then another side of x. If we multiply these two x's together, we are left with x times x is x squared. So this tile will be x squared. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do our first example. We want to multiply using the area method. What that means is that we're going to use those algebra tiles that we learned previously to go ahead and multiply these two binomials. All right, so we're going to go ahead and include these algebra tiles. What we want to do is first include that x, right? So our x algebra tile looks like that. And then we're going to include our 2 units. So we have a unit of 1 and another unit of 1. So we have x plus 1 plus 1. Then we're going to go ahead on the top. We're going to lay it across. We're going to do our x plus 1. So we're going to have a unit of x right here. And then we're going to add our unit of 1, which is that little box of 1. The next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and multiply each of these algebra tiles to each other. So we're going to go ahead and do x times x, which we know is x squared. So we're going to go ahead and include that big rectangle as our algebra tile for x squared. Then we're going to do x times 1, which is x. So that's our tile of x. And since we already finished with this x, we're going to go ahead and move on to our 1. So we're going to multiply 1 times x, which is x. Make sure you include that algebra tile of x. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to the next tile, which is our 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. We're going to include that unit of 1. Since we finished with this one, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next tile, which is 1. So we're going to multiply 1 times x is x. So we want to use that little algebra x tile. And then we're going to go do x times 1 times 1, which is 1. So we're going to go ahead and use our 1 algebra tile to put it there. All we want to do now is add everything together. So we have 1x squared. We have 3 x's, so to represent that we have 3 x's. And then we have 2 units of 1. So to represent that, we're going to add them together. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we multiplied using the algebra tiles, and we are left with x squared plus 3x plus 2. All right, so now for number 3, we have a you try. So I'm going to have you guys try this out, multiplying using the area method. So what that means is you're going to go ahead and use those algebra tiles. So I want you guys to go ahead and try it right now, okay? All right, so you should have something that looks like this right now, and then we're going to go ahead and multiply everything. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys time to do that while I work on this, and we can see what we came up with. So you should have something that looks like this. What I did was multiplied each value to each other, right? So we did x times x is x squared, x times 1 is x, and x times 1 is x. Then we move on to each of their other tiles. We did 1 times x is x, 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 1 is 1. And we're going to repeat the rest of those with our Unit 1 tiles. So now we want to go ahead and add this all up together. So we are left with x squared, 1x squared, and then we're going to go ahead and count how many x's we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ones. So we have plus 6. So you should have gotten x squared plus 5x plus 6. So lastly, we have our extension problem number 4. I want you guys to think about this for next class. How can we use the algebra tiles to multiply x minus 2 and x plus 3? So what is different here, and how can we use those tiles to represent our products?